Okay, the next fight is against the Merlin. I'm in the same webkiting Atron from the previous video. I wanted to make a couple of points about this fight. The fight itself is actually pretty bad, but for the lack of better footage, I guess it will have to do. This engagement out of position is very difficult for Merlin because Atron has both control advantage and range advantage. The control advantage comes from much higher top speed, and range advantage comes from the follow bonus. So there are a couple of fit combinations that works in this case for Merlin, but generally Merlin will not have a lot of opportunities to close the distance and actually deal the damage in the optimal range. So the initial engagement range is 10 kilometers. In this matchup, Atron can just scrum kite to maximize the damage because your control in web range will be higher anyway. The Merlins typically are shield tanked and they will only have one web. So that's why I actually engage pretty close to maximize damage from my rails. And here I make a first instructive mistake. I click keep at range 9. In itself, it's perfectly fine range management, but the problem is that the current range is 10 kilometers, and what's going to happen is that my ship will burn towards the Merlin. And this is extremely dangerous because before any control modules are applied, the Merlin can close the distance very quickly if I'm moving towards him. And once control modules are applied, it's actually significantly slower. It takes more time to get these kilometers back because you both will be wrapped. So this, like when you engage in position in a scrum kiter against a brawler, you have to be very careful in the first like 10 seconds of a fight to make sure that the brawler chases you and you are not burning towards him. It works quite similarly in matchups like Hookbill in position against Autocannon Firetail. Because Firetail is so fast, you need to be very careful as a Hookbill to apply webs, slow him down, and only when like commit to the orbit. And here I notice that the good thing actually what I did correctly is that I did not activate my afterburner. With the afterburner, it would be a very serious mistake because I would have wrong movement vector and a ton of inertia on top of it. Here I activate my afterburner only when Merlin is closer than 9 kilometers, so my inertia is aligned at least in the right direction. And another thing what I notice here is that this Merlin is actually double web, has double webs. So this could have been pretty bad, and it's Tech 2 fitted Merlin. But he just plays it very poorly. He still uses, I think it's Void ammo, because with null, Merlin actually has noticeable damage at 7 kilometers. It should be like 70 to 90 DPS. I would definitely notice that, but he just misses me completely, so I think it's either antimatter or Void. And he also, I don't know what's going on here, but his velocity is like 300 meters per second, which is extremely slow. Like Merlin and single web, even without hit, should go well above 400, and with the hit it should go above 600. So for some reason, I don't know, either it's a very underskilled character with very poor navigation skills, or it's some kind of misclick, or I don't know what's going on here. But the outcome is that even on the double webs, I still have control, and he dies pretty fast. I think I will check the feat as well. And as far as I remember, the feat was pretty bad, and it actually explains why his control was so poor. Yeah, so he was double web armor Merlin, and this setup just doesn't work because if you try to compensate your poor control with webs, you need not to kill your top speed. And armor tank does exactly that. So what you end up with in this situation, you still have no control, but you also have no tank. With a shield Merlin, you at least have the tank, but you just don't have very good control. These armor Merlins, or rather these double web Merlins, they make sense only if you feed them with a whole tank. So damage control, maxed up small ancillary rep, and then either full 3 marks in rig slots or 2 3 marks and 1 DPS rig. In this case, it's much better. I wouldn't say this is a better fit than the standard medium shield extender Merlin, but it at least makes sense. And this does not make much sense, unfortunately. And this is why his control was so poor. And yes, he only had Void in cargo. And you need to have ideally both null and antimatter when you use blaster frigates. So as I said in the beginning, the fight is pretty poor, but it was useful to illustrate a couple of points. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.